Hello everyone, today let's solve the problem number 2356. So number of unique subjects taught by each teacher, right? So what the question states here, we have to write the SQL query to calculate the number of unique subjects each teacher teaches in the university, right? So we have to, again I'm telling, we have to calculate or we have to write the SQL query, sorry, not calculate. We have to write the SQL query to calculate the number of unique subjects each teacher teaches in the university. That's what we need to do, right? So we have to write the SQL query to calculate the number of unique subjects each teacher teaches in the university. So what is the condition here? Each row in the teacher table represents a teacher teaching a specific subject in a specific department. You can clearly see here. This table they are speaking of, teacher table, right? So we have teacher ID, subject ID as well as the department ID here. Each row in the teacher table represents a teacher teaching a specific subject in a specific department. You can clearly see here. Each row in the teacher table represents a teacher teaching a specific subject and the specific department. We need to find the number of distinct subjects that is taught by each teacher regardless of the department. We need to find the number of distinct subjects that is taught by each teacher regardless of the department. And what we need to do finally, we need to return the result in any order. So we can return the result in any order, right? So in this case, let's come to the example. So we were already discussing the example one itself, right? So let's come to the example one. So here you can look at the teacher table here. We have teacher ID, subject ID and the department ID. And teacher 1 teaches the subject 2, 3. So we have teacher 1 and teacher 2 here, right? So teacher 1, this one, teaches the subject 2, 3. So this one we are considering, right? So we have here 2, 3, 4, which has to be distinct in this case. So teacher 1 teaches the subject here in this case 2, 3, right? So and teacher 2, if we consider teacher 2 here, teacher 2 teaches the subject here in this case 1, 2, 3 and 4. You can clearly see here with 1. So which are distinct here, right? So in this case, we can consider for the teacher 2 teaches the subject 1, 2, 3 and 4. In this case, teacher 1 teaches only this one, subjects 2, 3, where count equals 2. So we are going with the count 2, right? So here in this case, count is 2 because we have 2 and 3, right? So 1 and 1, this one is 2. Here in this case, we have 1, 2, 3 and 4. So in this case, the count is 4. So teacher 1 teaches subjects 2, 3 where count equals 2, and teacher 2 teaches the subject 1, 2, 3, 4 where count equals 4, right? So based on the, we have to return the teacher ID where 1 and 2 we have, you can clearly see here 1 and 2. So we have the duplicates here, no doubt. So we have to return only once here in this case in the output, right? So 1 and 2 we need to return the teacher ID, and the count has to be 2 and 4. So how we got 2 and 4, we discussed the same thing over here, right? So teacher 1 teaches the subjects 2, 3 and teacher 2 teaches the subjects 1, 2, 3, 4 where this one count is 4 in this case, right? So I hope this is completely clear, right? I hope this is completely clear, 2 and 4. So what we need to do now, I hope the question is completely clear. First, let's discuss the approach and then write the query. I hope the question is completely clear and what we need to do is completely clear as well, right? So now let's discuss the approach first and then write the here. Let's discuss the approach step by step. First thing here is the table shows the subjects that is taught by the each teacher in different departments. We saw that one when we considered example 1, right? So basically the table shows the subjects taught by each teacher in different departments. So second step here is to find the number of unique subjects taught by each teacher. We need to first, what we need to do, we have to group the data by teacher ID. So we will be making use of group by clause here. We have to group the data by based on the teacher ID. So this one is very important, just keep this in mind. We will be grouping the data by teacher ID, because we need to find the number of unique subjects that is taught by each teacher. So this is very important. So we need to group the data by the teacher ID. That is the reason we are grouping the data by teacher ID. We will be making use of the count distinct of subject ID. So distinct, count and distinct are the keywords that is provided by the SQL. We can make use of it in this case, right? So we will be making use of count of distinct of subject ID to count the number of unique subjects. We need to count the number of, we need to count first of all. That is the reason we are going with the count keyword here. Why we are making use of the distinct? Because we need to count the number of unique subjects. So to count any unique things, SQL provides us the keyword distinct here. So this is the reason we are going with the distinct keyword. So we will use the count of distincts of subject ID to count the number of subjects each teacher teaches. So each teacher teaches, that's what we need to find out, right? So based on the, so we had ID this one 111 and 2222 we had, right? So based on this one we got a 2,3. So here in this case, so count was 2 in this case, right? For the 1, for 2 we had 1 2 3 4 are the different or the unique subjects. So the teacher teaches, in this case we had count 1 2 3 and 4. This we have already discussed in the example. So this was 4, so we need to return 2 and 4 as output based on the ID. 1 and 2 is the ID and 2 and 4 are the counts, right? So that's what we are doing here. We are making use of count distinct of subject ID to count the number of unique subject each teacher teaches, right? So this is what we'll be doing. This is the second step, and the final step here is the output should show teacher ID. So the output has to show teacher ID, right? So there was 1 and 2. Basically 1 and 2 were the teacher IDs. Basically here in this case, these were the teacher IDs and count of distinct subjects. So this was count of distinct subjects itself. Distinct subject, I'll just give you a DS. Count of distinct subjects, in this case, the example we got 2 and 4, right? So here the output should show teacher ID and the count of distinct subject, nothing but CNT, count, right? So we'll be making use of the count here, CNT. So this is fine. So this is the approach that we will be going with. So we have clearly discussed the example as well as the approach as well. Now we are clear with what we need to do, and as we have discussed the approach and example, we should be able to write the query clearly. Now let's start writing the query. So first step here is we will select the teacher ID. I'll just go with the select keyword quickly. We have to select the teacher ID. Let's copy this one from the table here, teacher's table. So didn't I type select here? This is fine, teacher ID. And after selecting the teacher ID, we have to count the unique subjects that is taught by each teacher, right? So that's what we need. That's what we discussed in the approach. So I'll just give here, I said we'll be making use of the count keyword with the distinct as well. Distinct because we need to count the unique subject. So to count any unique things, SQL provides distinct keyword. We can just make use of that one, right? So this is nothing but here subject underscore ID as count. So count we have considered CNT, right? So this is fine. This is coming from basically teacher's table, teacher table. So I'll just copy this one here, teacher. Let me paste it over here. So from teacher, so we are considering this one. This is coming from the teacher's table basically. And finally, if you remember what we discussed, we will group by teacher ID to count the subjects for each teacher. That's what we discussed on the last step. So this one we just need to implement or articulate this one in the form of query. So I'll just make use of group by clause here. So this one I'll just go with based on the teacher ID. I'll be making use of group by based on the teacher ID. This is fine. So let me hit the run button quickly. So let me hit the run button quickly. I hope this works. Let's see. So we have an error in the SQL syntax. Ask this one, right? Syntax count. Yeah, this one here I have misspelled the word distinct. This is fine now. Distinct, right? Yeah, this is fine. So let me hit the run button again here. So yeah, now we can clearly see the sample test case is getting passed. So let me hit the submit button quickly. So here you can clearly see all the test cases are getting passed. Means the query works absolutely correct on this case, right? I hope whatever the query that we have written is completely clear. For now, this is it. Thanks for watching, guys.